Hey, Facebook fans, it's Deborah, and this is August 1st. And what I'm going to do right now is have a really short first session with you. So it's my ceiling fan, just so you don't wonder what that is flipping around up there. So what I'm going to do is about 15 minutes long of functional strength. So first of all, I want to define that for you before we dive into exercises. Functional strength means literally with more rotation, more three-dimensional movement. So what we truly do most of the time, we're forward-moving mammals, right? So we do things forward, we might go backward, and rarely do we go side, rarely do we rotate in our exercise. So in functional daily activities of living, we do all those things and we do them simultaneously. The challenges many of you have shared with me, which have fueled my plan, first of all, for today and for the rest of the week, are problems with hips. That seems to be the number one. And many of you are also telling me you have problems with your hips without realizing you're telling me that, because you're telling me you have problems with your knees or your lower back, which here's what I want to point out to you. So if you put your hand on your lower back and you think about the joints above it and below it, you're thinking about your upper back or across your shoulder blade area or across your hip. What's supposed to be true is that your upper back and your hips are mobile joints and your lower back should be the stable joint. So when your hips are truly tight or your upper back is tighter than it should be, your body is going to find a way, and it's going to beg, borrow, and steal from your lower back. And that's where lower back problems often come from. Are very intuitive and, okay, boom, here's my answer, is almost always to go to, I must have a weak core. My abdominals must be really weak. That is not always the problem. Sometimes it's a part of it, but it's not always it. So what we traditionally went to 10 and 20 years ago is you have a weak core and you need to stretch your back. And those two things may be true, but more likely it's this upper back is locked because we're at a keyboard too much of the time. And the hips are locked because we're in chairs or sitting too much of the time. So we're going to tackle both of those, and we're only going to take about 13 minutes to do it, because once I show you the exercises, the first time you ever see it may be enough. Or you can turn me off and you can repeat and replay it or just simply redo them. Some of them will be harder than others. The ones that are harder are probably the ones you need the most, okay? So there may be more degree of function today than there is of strength. Don't worry so much about the weight. The weight is really there to give you a little bit of balance, actually. So some things are easier with some weight than they are without, just kind of floating around. And you might know that yourself if you've tried to do, say, yoga, and you're doing, some of the flying poses and it's just almost impossible. If you have weight and resistance in doing an exercise, it gives you a little bit to pull against and it can really help things. So I'm going to set you down and show you here. This is kind of part of the set for when we're filming Flipping 50, and I'm just going to be up against this background that's all white so you can see a little bit better what's happening. So it makes me appear really tall, which is fantastic for me because I rarely get that. I'm just going to reposition just a little bit so you got a little bit more feet as well. So I have half of a foam roller here. This is not because I'm going to use the foam roller, but what I want you to know is if you have a limited range of motion, you're not very flexible and you know that, or you have your lower back is kind of tender, you're a little worried about doing some exercise, err on the conservative side and put a chair, a footstool, an ottoman here so that instead of trying to go to the floor, you're going to actually just go here. It'll be much safer, and when you're starting out, safer is better. Get strong in that area first. You'll be able to do more, okay? So before we even do that, I'm going to put my weight down. It's a super light weight at 5 pounds is all, so that's not about heavy. I'm going to put my foot up here. So you can put your foot on a chair, again, the ottoman, footstool. What I want you to do is to just take your arms and rotate. And what you're doing here is trying not to move your knee, but you're trying to rotate and open upper back. You're leaving your hips still. I just want you to rotate this way. I'm punching my backdrop, but keeping my arms open like an airplane. And as I do that, I'm rotating through my lower back, but I'm really moving my upper back as well, trying to look behind me as much as I can. Do your other foot. Moving my upper body off of my lower body. And again, this one's not about strength, but if you start moving, doing strengthening exercises, and you don't have the mobility that you should have, you're going to get strong in a very small area, and that's not ideal. So the first thing we always do is build mobility, the ideal range of motion, back into your body before we start strengthening. So just getting your upper body nice and loose, because we're going to use it slightly, okay? What I want you to do is either with or without a weight. If you feel like, I don't want to do that yet, that's fine. Put your hand against a wall, maybe in the back of a chair for balance. What I want you to do is to stand on one leg. The weight goes in the other hand if you are using it. You're going to either touch down here on your platform, feel this back in the glute, bring the weight to your chest, and you can push it up. The only reason to do that is not for your shoulder, but it's for your core and for balance. Keep it close to your body, and then you can either come down to the floor or decide, and then come back up. Your core stays nice and tight, and you're working across the body. So this is my right hand coming up, and my weight is on my left foot. Most importantly, it's on my left heel. And my lower leg and my left leg, it's working like crazy. So it's gonna get a little fatigue close to the end. This is a great workout if you're doing, say, Monday and Wednesday, you work really heavy, then, or I'm sorry, Monday, Friday, you work heavy, and on Thursday, you might then do a functional workout. So you get a little recovery in there and work your body differently. I'm gonna switch sides. So holding here, you wanna try to shoot to get to 10, talking through it. You know, I can't always get there and be sure it was not 9 or 11, but I'm getting close. Or stop when your good form goes away, okay? So decide, can you go to the floor, or do you need to stop a little sooner? Keep your eye on a focal point if you can. So if your eye stays in the same spot, your balance is gonna be better than if you, for instance, look at the floor and then you look up. Your body wants to go where your eyes go. So if your eyes stay in one spot, your body is going to stay much more stable. Keep your weight on your heel. You're firing the glutes on this side, and yet those lower leg muscles are really helping to stabilize. They're getting stronger around your ankle. So even this can help you prevent falls, because your lower leg is going to be stronger, much more able to react and respond fairly quickly. You're going to come down and come up, and I'm going to do 2 more. So just me, potentially, but my lower leg is burning, and then relax. So about 10 on either leg, down and up. The weight stays close to you. Do notice this. When I bring that weight up, I want it right here, over my shoulders, not out here, okay? That puts a lot of stress on my shoulder. And remember, the purpose is not to do a shoulder exercise. It's actually so that when that weight comes up and I'm on one leg, there has been a lot going on, and my core has to pay attention. And we always want it to pay attention, right? So the next exercise, I'm gonna have you do something similar but different. Now, if you have dumbbells and you have 2 or 3 of them, you might wanna set them on end. If you're thinking limited range of motion is kind of, that's where you're at right now. It helps to have a target that's a little higher. Now, mine I'm gonna challenge and come down. So I'll put 2 dumbbells off to end. What I want is something about 6 inches, something 6, 12, and 8 inches from my toe. Sorry about that. The phone rings. I'm trying to get a hold of somebody all afternoon, and of course they call right when I'm busy. So what I want to do is reach down, and I'm going to touch and come right back up to this spot. The goal is mobility and strength around hips to get your glutes to fire, to get you stronger in the core. So we need to come back to here. Don't cheat and come back to here and then start again. You've got to come all the way up and strengthen and straighten the glute. It looks like this. You're going to come down and touch 6 inches and up. And 12 inches away from you and up. And then 18 inches and up. And I'm going to do that again, 6 inches. And come up. And 12. And come up. 18 inches. And up. And one more time, 6 and come up, and 12 and come up, and then 18 and up, and switch sides. So I do 3 passes, so that's like 9 repetitions. Other side, and it's the opposite hand. Standing on my right, my left hand touches the weight, strengthen up, squeeze through the glute, strength, and up, and then out, and up. And again, so it's coming down to 6 inches, press through, and 12, coming up, and 18, and up, and one more time. Down with 6, press through the heel, and 12, push through the heel, stand, and 18, and push. Good, and back in. Now, come back to your first leg. So this one, seemingly super, super simple. You're gonna hold this knee up. What I want you to do is to watch. I'm just gonna cross it over, and then I'm gonna come back. And I'm gonna cross it over, and I'm gonna come back. And we're working a little bit on opening up the hip by tightening and strengthening the muscles, but also getting some mobility into it as we do it. Rotating and putting weight on the foot slightly differently. And I'm going to have you switch and come to the other side. Standing leg, the other one just comes up. This is your gesture leg. We're rotating, whoops. You're going to have a good one and a bad one. Now we know which is which for me. Good, we got that over, thank goodness. Rotate in, rotate out, and again, rotate in, and out. I got to think hard on this side. Rotate in. And if you've been here before, I'll tell you why that's true. I had a foot injury on this leg several years ago, and in conditioning to get it back, I favored this one so much that it's now my stronger leg. And so that's what happens. You're never totally symmetrical, but now I know I got to play a little catch up over here and get that one strong. Rotate, let it go, and then bring it back. Good. Now, for some of you, that was like, okay, I've got some fatigue here. I'm going to have to just take this one back. So part of, remember, strength and functional mobility is the mobility. So now that it's warm, you've worked it, I want you to push that hip. You're going to tuck your tailbone under to get the stretch through the hip flexor. Someone was asking me about tucking tailbone under. Is that always necessary or never? Always and never are dangerous words in questions, right? We know that about multiple choice and true-false questions. And always true here. When you tuck the tailbone under, you're getting a stretch. If you don't, you're not getting the stretch. So that's why you would do it in this case. Push the heel down, and then the hip, the tailbone forward, or your attempt at going forward makes the hip flexor stretch kick in. Okay, relax. So now the rest is up to you. You're gonna take those 3 simple exercises. The reach down and lift up, the tap at 6, 12, and 18 inches, and the weave in and out and either repeat them or let them go, put them in your bag of tricks, and that might have been enough for you today. If you're brand new to it and those muscles are not firing really well, one time, one set might be enough. You can always do more, but don't do too much more. I'm gonna curl in and just let you know. So remember that this is a challenge for every day this first week of August. So by weeks in my account, that's 7 days. So I will be traveling tomorrow, so no doubt I'm gonna wanna loosen up my hips again when I get there. I'll help you. Yes, that helps with tight hips, absolutely. So you're gonna look at using these kind of one by one by one and do each day with me, but then you're gonna save those. So if you want this all put together and the string of videos put together in a playlist for you and put with a little functional cheat sheet, I'll give you the opt-in if you wanna, if you're not a subscriber to the Active Aging Secrets list from Flipping 50, I will give you that at the end of the week. So you've got all of them and you can just kind of go back and play either the ones you want or remember and recall them. So it'll be there. All right, Shoni, hello. Lisa, you're going to physical therapy right now to strengthen your core and glutes, having scoliotic joint issues. Will you have this video posted later? It's live, so once it's live, it lives on, Lisa. So videos are always on the same page. Under the videos, you'll be able to go and look at the name of this one today and find it, absolutely. And again, if you want to opt in and just get the whole thing as opposed to look around for them, you can do that too. Adding it to your workout in the morning, great. Hey Donna, and we are all actually heading over to the cafe for the weight training workout right now. So if you're not aware of the cafe membership for Flipping 50, we do live Tuesday workouts at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. So right now I'm running late, and that was a great warm up for anybody who's here and then wants to jump over to that page. And we also do interval training on Friday mornings, typically. So if you're interested in more information, you can find it on flipping50.com for the cafe. And I will see you all tomorrow.